I'm the head of innovation technology for Cisco, and thank you for the introduction. But at the same time, I run the Create team, which is something very unique in Cisco, but something very unique also in the industry. We are a pure collaborative research team. We are a team that we work on. Actually, I do have the first slide is about the vision of the team. Which is about creating solutions to real world problems. We are a team that, believe it or not, we don't really have a business quota. We don't have to sell products for Cisco. We don't have to even use Cisco technology. We are a team that we are allowed to go and provide solutions and use the Cisco's global kind of capabilities to build consortiums, to build teams together, work with universities, work with academia, work with city councils, and try to provide solutions to real problems. We're working on flooding in Glasgow at the moment. We're working on changing completely the travel experience in between Edinburgh and Glasgow in Scotland. We're working on a completely new cybersecurity system for IoT deployments. We're starting to work into a completely new autonomous vehicles project, and in a number of these projects, we are also having as co-partner, co-founder Innovate UK or Horizon 2020 money. But we have also projects that we are funding completely ourselves. CityVerve is the biggest of all the projects that we have, and let me tell you a few more things about CityVerve and how it all came about. It started about 1.5 years ago with a competition from Innovate UK for an IoT demonstrator. It was a £10 million project, and it was about bringing a city to be able to demonstrate how a smart city will look in the future. It had to cover healthcare, it had to cover transportation, energy and environment, and a number of elements, but the mandate was that it had to be something that is replicable. It had to be something that is scalable, something that is sustainable, something that when you build it is going to stay there and is going to expand. It had to be something that's procurable. People have to be able to buy it. You don't want to build something that is an experiment and nobody can do anything without it. There were 34 cities that they applied for this, 22 submissions, 22 some very good proposals around the UK, and then 6 finalists that went through an interrogation process of what you're able to deliver within the next 2 years. Manchester, with Cisco as the industrial partner, was the winning project, and the feedback from Innovate UK was that it was ambitious, it was very innovative what we were proposing, but also it was very feasible. It was something that it could be done in 2 years, and we put forward a lot of focus on how are we planning to deliver it. CityVerve has a 9-people permanent team that they are based in Manchester. They are focusing into delivering the project. It's not a side project. It's not that they have another job in the morning and they do it in the afternoon. This is a full-time work. And this was very critical for the project. 21 partners. This is actually 20 partners. We did lose some partners. This is 21 partners, 16 million budget, non-profit. I'm coming from Cisco, and this non-profit thing is very difficult to comprehend. When I discuss it inside, and Cisco is a very difficult concept. It makes a huge difference. I cannot go into specific details or percentages, but I can tell you our margins are quite substantial. In order for us to be able to give very high discounts and to really penetrate the market, we do build our projects with our products with very high margins. When we're talking about non-profit, means that cost of goods, exactly how much it costs us to build in the manufacturer and how much does it cost us to ship. And Innovate UK pays for half of that because we're Cisco and we're a large enterprise. So if you compare the 16 million of the project into a tender, if Munster was buying what we're doing in Munster, it would cost close to 80 million instead of 16 million non-profit. So as a project goes, it's huge. The 2 kilometers that you see there is that we cannot boil the ocean. We are not changing Manchester. CityVerve is not going to change what Manchester is. We are only focusing into the innovation corridor, into the center of Manchester. Oxford Road, for people who know very well Manchester. It's a road of 2 kilometers. It goes from the town hall down to the park. And in the next 2 years, in parallel with CityVerve, it gets converted from a 6-lane cars to a 2-lane buses and pedestrianized. So it's a huge disruption to Manchester, huge enormous amount of work taking place. And what we're trying to do, we're really trying to create, honestly, the smartest city around the world. And let me tell you why I like to call the smartest city. We looked into every smart project that happened in UK or in around Europe or around the world. We looked into Tokyo, we looked into Singapore, we looked into Rio, we looked into Berlin, Barcelona, but we looked also into Glasgow, we looked into a number of projects that they took place before. The key element that we found was that there were isolated applications that they were put together into a cluster and they were called a smart city. There was an application, from the application to the data, it was an isolated road. There was no central access point, there was no central kind of engine. The city could buy a component of that, but it doesn't make the city smart. There was nothing that the city could replicate and become smart and then decide what applications they can actually deploy. All of these solutions were mainly just isolated, unconnected data, that they were all doing specific jobs. What we really want to do it with CityVerve was change that. Create an entity in the middle, create something that the minute that the city deploys it or buys it, they are smart, without even deploying a single application. Create a platform of platforms, create a way that you can connect anything at the bottom, you can create any application on the top, and then you are actually having a smart city. Create something that you can bring healthcare data, transport data, social data, bring them all together based on privacy policies in a proper way, and then being able to create cross-theme kind of applications, cross-theme solutions that we've never done before. And I will mention some of these today. Now, when we look in the healthcare, there are use cases that we build together. By the way, just to give you a bit of timing, we started last July. We just completed 6 months of designing and technical reference kind of creation designs, and we started building 2 weeks ago. We started having our first demonstrations, and we started really looking into how fast can we deliver. The project management of the project has created 6 parallel streams. So we're building infrastructure where we're deploying use cases, where we're doing evaluation, where we're doing communication, and I will tell you a few more about the other streams that we're running at the same time. When we look into healthcare, we are looking into focusing on things that we can really change with technology. People with breathing problems, COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. I do practice a lot to say that. It still comes out very often. It is people with long-term emphysema and people that have long-term breathing problems. And it's one of the diseases that monitoring just a patient is not good enough. You need to know where's the problem, where's the pollution. You need to help people avoid breathing attacks. And the more breathing attacks you avoid, the more people less they need to go to hospital. There's less possible to really become something really serious. So what we do is we are building a system in which first we're monitoring the whole city, and then we advise people what to do. We are going into their transport data. We're really helping them what bus to take. We're really telling them where to do, how to go through the city. We are using a city concierge application that although you can ask where is the best restaurant around you, you can also ask what's the best way to go avoiding the hotspots, the pollution hotspots, in order to avoid any breathing problems. We are merging things together between transportation and healthcare. In a year from now, when you go to a bus stop in Manchester, the bus stop will offer you all sorts of additional things than just telling you when the bus is coming. It will offer you even to walk to the next bus stop after you have checked in order to give the bus for free, to give you the bus fare for free. We're actually asking the healthcare guys to subsidize bus fares when people are going to walk. You see, it's one thing measuring how many steps people are doing. But actually providing the incentives for people to walk, it's a different story. So providing this kind of mission engine, as we call it, with the currency on top, that when you go into a bus stop, the bus stop can tell you, you know what, there's a bus coming in the next 11 minutes. It's just enough time to walk to the next bus stop. And if you do that, you're not going to be charged if you go into the bus. That will give you another about 1,000 steps into your count of the day. And believe me, that already reduces dramatically percentages of heart attack possibilities. So this is how you can now start bringing different things together, and we found that CityVerve and Manchester, for this matter, is the ideal place. You see, Manchester was another element, I have to say, that really made the difference when I think Manchester was chosen for the IoT demonstrator. Manchester is leading the devolution agenda. And while this politically is a kind of a grand kind of gesture, what it means is that you have a very aggregated authority. What exactly means is that the budget for healthcare, the budget for transportation goes through the Manchester City Council. So having the Manchester City Council as partner into this project, it opens a lot of doors and it makes things happen. We have TFGM as partner of this project. We have both NHS Trust as partner of this project. We have the Manchester University, University of Manchester, the Manchester Metropolitan University partner in the project, but we have also BT, Siemens, we have SAP as part of the project. We have 12 startups that they have done amazing stuff up to now, and we're helping them to do even more. When we're looking into transportation, we talked about the talkative bus stops, road safety, we're looking into city concierge, and of course, on top of all that, the e-bike sharing and also very innovative ways of moving forward. Manchester, in the last 3 years, they deployed 3 different bike and rental bike schemes and things that you have like you have in London. All of them failed. Nobody's using the bikes. Although they have 70,000 students in the center, they are not using the bikes. And the reason was that they were too expensive, there were not enough of them, there were not enough stations. So we tried to overcome all these problems. We are making an e-bike kind of sharing application and solution, a whole service that combines all the different schemes together. You use one application to rent any bike, to take any bike. We have actually bike sharing schemes. We're having bikes that you can take it from the side of the road and it has a digital lock on it and you can unlock it with your phone and then you can drive it anywhere and leave it anywhere. You don't have to put it in a station. To overcome this, going back into some clever ideas, how do we get a bike back after it's been parked on the other side of the city? We are building this kind of mission statement, and we have what we like to call this kind of currency engine on top. We have rewards. So a student can actually win their lunch for the day if they go and pick up a bike and bring it back. And we have the whole mechanism, the whole intelligence and the logistics of how to make this happen. We are dissing chores every day for people to be able to take and exchange it for coffees, for lunches, for about 250 shops they have put forward awards that they would like to give to people that are willing to do things to make the city different. We don't go into changing bins or anything like that, but we are looking into areas that citizens could really get engaged. And by providing the engine, we're not sure exactly what we're going to do yet. We're not sure exactly what exactly features we're going to ask, but we're providing the engine to make it possible to happen. On the energy and environment, we are measuring the air quality. We're measuring the air quality and we're sharing it with all the other schemes. Of course, we're doing smart parking, we're doing smart lighting, we're doing all the things that you normally would have into a smart city. But we are going into the buildings. And that's the other element. MSP, Brandwood, is also partnering into the project. 150 public sector buildings are part of the project. 6 of them, they are becoming like our beacons of what can we do if we start bringing buildings together. 5 of them are retrofitting. We're retrofitting asset mapping, so we're mapping all the assets. We're introducing predictive maintenance and all the cool stuff that you can get now into reducing energy in a building. One of them is a completely new building. It's a completely new building. It's called MSP1. It's opening in March, and this is a building that it was happening at the same time when we start designing CityVerve. And we're doing the new generation BMS. We're talking about digital ceiling, advanced lighting, things that you don't normally get. We're introducing lighting in the building that we're changing the light instead of increasing the temperature. We're creating more warm lighting to make people feel that they're warmer instead of actually heating the building. We're introducing blue-violet colors when we want people to be more alert in the seminar areas, in the education areas. We're changing the light during the day to emulate external conditions to make people feel that they're actually outside instead of inside. We're emulating dawn, we're emulating sunset, and believe it or not, that does fool our bodies. It does stimulate growth hormones, and it does make people feel better just because the light is changing without you doing anything. So these are some of the things that is technology that we dreamed of, but we have now the opportunity to really deploy it. But we don't stop there. The citizen is in the middle of whatever we do in Manchester. We have citizen champion forums. So we have brought citizens close to be able to help us design and create what we're planning to do in the future. But this is not just some kind of marketing flow or some kind of messaging that I want to do there. We do have a very active kind of citizen in the middle approach of what we do. But also we have a lot more. Social platform. Of course, we are opening a social platform Of course, we're opening a social platform. We wouldn't have it any other way, that people can participate and people can get information, and also it will become the engine for us of how people will connect. But a social platform is not enough. Many people will never use their phones, will never use their smart devices. How do you engage people that they don't have an iPad or an iPhone, and they're not interested to have an iPad or an iPhone? We're putting art in the middle of Manchester. We're putting art that is actually changing based on IoT data. We're putting art that changes based on the point of the environment. I cannot really give you any photos at the moment. We just briefed the artists, and we don't really have any proposals. We're putting augmented reality. MMU is putting this in the Mancunian way. For you that you know Manchester, we're putting these plinths, these orange plinths that people can use to sit on, and they can socialize around. But if you point your phone on these plinths, there is actually a 3D element, interactive element over every plinth to be able to ask things about the city. There are 21 plinths around the city, and you can use things like Pokemon Go. I don't like to use this example, but it is like Pokemon Go. If you point over the plinth, you are going to be able to have an image that you can interact. Very new technology, very new ideas from MMU, and a huge opportunity to deploy them in the center of the city. And while we have 128 use cases that we're deploying in the next 2 years, we are starting an open innovation from next April. We're going to do the biggest hackathon, the biggest innovation competition within the project. So for 12 months, we're going to run a competition, and for every month, we're going to have a challenge, and we're going to have an open request. We're going to open all the APIs of the platform. We're going to socialize all our data, the ones that we can share with everybody. We're going to open the platform, and we're going to invite individuals, universities, startups to come and participate and give us ideas. We are putting together a very interesting panel that's going to choose these ideas, and we're going to choose 24 of them. And we're going to incubate them. We're going to give them 4 months to be developed. We're going to give them all the technical support and everything that they need to make it happen. The ideas will be chosen on their feasibility also. And we're going to build 24 ideas that we haven't got yet. So while we think we have a set of amazing ideas, we think we have an amazing project put forward in the next 2 years, what open innovation will do for us is it will make sure that we will be the most clever kind of idea also 2 years down the line. From the one side, it will enable us to get better visibility around UK. Hopefully more people will get involved. It will involve city stakeholders to become these kind of judges and into these panels that we're going to run every month. And we're going to get 24 new ideas that they have to be not already in the project, and nobody of us has thought of them yet. So we have a lot of hopes. And this is in a brief, I hope I didn't go too much over 20 minutes, is in brief the kind of what's in it. This is a motto line that we do use in the Create team, so I wanted to leave you with that. But this is it. This is what we're doing in Manchester, and hopefully you're going to hear much more in the next 1.5 years. Thank you.
Well done.